Would you like to get more consistent art clients? Because I bet you're not doing any of these and it's costing you. So while you watch me draw this today, I'm gonna tell you the most boss tips I've learned that you've never heard that have helped me gain consistent art clients for the last 2 years with 0 social media following. And you should start doing all of these right now. So to start off, I bet that you're leaving thousands of dollars on the table by not doing this. Let's go through what typically happens in your common scenarios as you first get some type of lead, some type of potential art client. You're gonna have a great conversation with them, you're gonna learn about their project, and then eventually you're gonna get to that pricing conversation. Now, then also one thing that's really common is that sometimes the client will say like, oh, well, you gotta wait a week, or you have to wait 2 weeks, I have to wait till I get paid. Or maybe you yourself, maybe you're away and you can't start for a week or 2 weeks or a month or something like that, okay? And then this is when you start to leave things to chance. And let me just tell you this, is that most of y'all need to seize those opportunities right then and there to ensure that you're actually gonna get a client. Because if you start doing any type of work, even if it's research, my friend, I just wanna let you know you're working for maybe money. Why do I call it that? Really simple. Because maybe the client will pay you, maybe they won't. Maybe they'll save up all the money that they're supposed to, maybe they won't. So how do you circumnavigate this, my friend? You need to make sure that you ask for a deposit. Now look, this absolutely never gets brought up, okay? But I'm gonna tell you that doing this will secure more clients for you and it's going to alleviate a lot of your stress. So here's what I'll typically do and here's what I recommend you do, y'all. When you have a hot lead, even if the client says they don't have all the money right then and there, it's best for them to put down something rather than leave everything on the table. So let's say, for example, you're charging $100. Can you charge $25 for a deposit? Can you go ahead and ask for $50 if you're charging $200? Can you charge $100 if you're gonna be asking for a $500 commission? Myself personally, if I ever do a book cover, I ask minimally for a $250 deposit, and here's the basic reasoning why. Is that first and foremost, it secures that spot. And the way that I would phrase this to a client is just as such, you wanna make it all about them, friend. Just say something to the effect of, hey, look, my slots are filling up. I'm really busy right now, but I really want to work with you. And in order to do that, do you think you could just put down this small deposit right now and that secures your place in line so that if anyone else comes along, they're not going to bump you out. Now, if you caught on to exactly how I said that and what I said there, is that I made it all about them. I made them feel good about it. And it was all about making sure that we have a proper working relationship from the beginning. You see how that works? And look, this has nothing to do with money or greed, okay? This is everything to do with making sure that you both feel secure in the process, okay? Because if you get some form of money, that is commitment. And that is you not having to work, not having to wait. And then, have you ever done this? Have you ever had a client string you along? Oh, it's gonna be another week, it's gonna be another 2 weeks, oh, maybe next month, maybe next year, and it never comes about. This annihilates all of that. You gotta hop on those leads while they are hot, while they are decisive, and make sure that they commit to you, because the last thing you want is for them to go ahead and start to look around for another artist, look around for another client, look around for another game to buy, look around for another vacation to spend that money on instead. You want them to secure that spot with you, right? Because otherwise, what are you doing? You're waiting for maybe money, and maybe that's not the best thing you should be doing, is it? Now, I bet that once you get a client, or whenever you're working with the client, if you don't have one right now, I'm gonna bet you're probably putting your best into that project. You're putting your full force effort into it, right? But you're also making a colossal mistake at the end of every single project that's costing you. What do you do when you're done with the project? Do you go ahead and you probably say something to the effect of like, oh, thank you so much. Oh, I appreciate you. Hey, make sure that you think about me the next time that you have something. Do you ever say, hey, please keep me in mind? Well, listen, yo, that is the lamest ending since Game of Thrones. And y'all just can't do this anymore. Here's a better way to do it. One thing that I started to do a few years ago, and you'd be surprised, and I'm gonna tell you how effective this has been for me, is that at the end of every single project, once you deliver everything, once you confirm that they've liked everything, once you are sure that they are completely satisfied and everything's good with how everything ended, okay? Do this. Ask them for their next project. Y'all, I can't believe how many people don't do this, and it is the #1 way that I have been able to secure way more jobs. And y'all, don't ask this in any type of coy or any type of unconfident way. Don't be like, oh, well, hey, do you have something else in mind? Hey, maybe do you have another project? No, friend, just do this. Literally say this phrase. Hey, this is awesome. Thanks so much. What's your next project? What else do you have in mind? This was so cool. What other characters do you have to do? What other scenes would you like to create? When you confidently ask this, here's the key clutch thing this enables them to do. It enables your client to then envision, okay, this is great. What else could they do? What other projects could they make for me? Y'all, I'm not lying when I tell you this at all, but I've been able to secure at least 50% more jobs in the past 2 years of me doing this just from this one simple practice. You would be shocked how many people come off of a project with you, pay a good amount of money for everything that you're doing for them, and then still want more. It's beautiful. The other big thing that this does for them is, like any good farmer, it prevents your herd from wandering around. You don't want that client to wander everywhere because look, you always want them to remember that you have a great working relationship, you're a reliable person, you've faithfully done everything that you said you would, and you've amazed them with your amazing artwork, right? So y'all, don't let them wander. Let them instead wonder what else you could do for them. How's that? Now, you probably make this mistake early on, but this isn't just for noobs to freelancing. This is also for seasoned vets. I see this all the time. And honestly, the decay of your art business usually sets in right around the beginning of it, and it goes something like this. First, you gotta go ahead and you gotta find a client, then you get a client, and then they go ahead and they commit to you on that, and then you put your all into it and you put your full force effort into it, right? You start to just crank out all that beautiful art with just maximum force and effort. But you forgot something really important right there. See, before you got that client, before you had those jobs, you were really hustling and you were putting maximum focus into finding clients, and now you've shifted that focus into just working on that client or those clients that you've netted. This is the problem, because right now you're experiencing broken momentum. See, you got tunnel vision into just doing one thing at a time or one particular things at a time, and then you started to sit there all fat and happy about the fact that you got a client, or you got the max amount of clients, or you got a certain price tag that you wanted to, and you stopped doing what you were doing. Now, how this hurts you, I've kind of learned, is that I used to do this all the time, and I would just full force put my everything into that project, and then that project would end, and then what happens then? Then I have nothing. I don't have any prospects. I don't have any leads. And then I have to start that search all over again. You have to keep up the search even when you have business, even when you have clients. It doesn't matter how many you have too, but you have to keep up that momentum. You have to keep up that search, because if you don't, then inevitably you are eventually going to hit a big dead end in your art business. You're not gonna have any sales, you're not gonna have any leads. And y'all, I'm just gonna warn you right here, this is when you're gonna start to feel like you might be burnt out or something, because you just put all of your effort into one thing, and now you gotta put all of your effort into shifting into something else. So the best thing for you to do is to just keep it up. And y'all, it's not that hard. If you get a new client, just tell them that they have to wait a week or 2 weeks. They have to wait until next month. And remember, just get that deposit so that it's there and it is committed to it. But what that does is it just allows you to just freely work on what you want, and you don't have to be stressing about doing that dance all over again. And my most critical understanding I've come to, I want to share with you, is this, is that y'all never lose sight of tomorrow for today, because you always need to have the next project lined up, or else you might be sacrificing a better tomorrow. How's that sound? Okay, so the next big critical thing that you need to do in order to get more consistent art clients, my friend, and this one is gonna really help you level up, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, because y'all, I'm here to give you real, honest advice, actionable things that you can do to actually get clients and actually start a great art business. And really, this tip is gonna save you a lot of time and a lot of heartache. Okay, so this next tip is a rough one for you because it was a rough one for me, but it might be just what you need to hear from it. So let me ask you, how do you feel about what you're getting paid for your work? So what are you getting out there? Are you getting $20? Are you getting $50? $150? $300? $500? Where's your price tag at? Tell me down below. How do you feel about what you're getting and what you would like to get? I always notice that when I work with people is that there's always a disparity. People say, I'm currently getting this, but I would like to get this. But one thing I've learned is that that's just the wrong focus, okay? And I'm talking to you as somebody that started out doing $35 commissions years ago. So what I'm gonna advise you on is this: stop pigeonholing your performance based on economics. And here's why. One thing I learned and I started to ask myself is this: how will I ever level up my pricing? How will I ever evolve everything that I'm doing if I am only going to perform to the peak of what I've been paid? If my price determines my outcome, then I inevitably will never evolve into what I want to be. I will never become the artist that I want to, and I'll never get the price tags that I want to. Here's one thing that I started to do. So it doesn't matter how much I got paid, y'all. Even when I was doing $30 commissions, I would look there and be like, okay, what does a $100 commission look like? What skills do I need to do to make $100? And then I would get that and I would say, okay, cool. What do I have to do to get $200? What would a $200 client want? What would they expect? And then I would say, okay, cool. What does a $500 client look like? What does a $1,000 client? What does a $1,500 client look like? What does my artwork need to look like in order to net them? And here's the most beautiful part is that when you go ahead and you deliver that to a client, it blows their mind. You give them so much ridiculous value that they want to come back for you. They will feel so much less resilient about paying you more when you have demonstrated that you are a reliable artist and you're able to really knock their socks off with mind-blowingly better artwork than what you were actually paid for. This is also a big integrity move on your part too, because if you're only making artwork for a sale, then just to be honest with you, man, you can do so many better things to make a buck. But if you want to really build a great art business and sustain your client base, then this is one of the key things you got to do. You got to build up no matter how much you're getting paid for it. And what I want to ask you right now is this: what are you getting paid? What are you delivering for that? And what are you sacrificing by only working for the paycheck that you got? I just want to remind you all, you're not a minimum wage worker as an artist. You're doing super skilled labor and you're not in a dead end job. I'm warning you that you're working yourself into one if you're doing that bad practice. All right, now, how would you like to learn how to blow the pants, socks, shirt, and underwear off of all your clients every single time? Then check this. Okay, so when you're first starting a project, what do? Obviously, you talk to the client, you maybe take a look at what they gave you, maybe they got some references or you ask for some references, and then you just start. Well, that's kind of a rookie process that I used to do too, and I kind of learned that it yielded lackluster results aside from what I could do, and here's what I started to do instead. Now, what motivated me for this is that honestly, I just personally hate lackluster deliveries. And it usually goes something like this. If you've ever delivered an artwork to a client and they go, thanks, thank you so much, looks good, good job. Man, that pisses me off. That is the most epically unsatisfying ending that you'll ever experience from a client. It just feels like, you just left so much on the table there for potential. Have you ever felt that way? So one of the things that I started to do with my clients every single time I work with them, and I'm gonna encourage you to start to do the same, is y'all gotta get to know the depth in every single project. Especially for me, I do a lot of characters. So instead of just asking, what do they look like? And hey, do you have a picture or something of this? One of the things I started to do is I started to do a really deep dive into them. And I would start to really get into the mind of them. What would they do? Hey, what would they do in this circumstance? Or like, hey, how would they feel here? Or like, what's their personality like? And you would be surprised how much clients love to talk about this. And another great thing I'm just gonna let you know right now is that the more curious you are about their project and about what you're wanting to make for them, the more that they actually learn to love you more, the more that they actually want to do more with you, the more that they are going to be encouraged to want to be with you, because you come off as authentic, you come off as encouraging, you come off as somebody that is also supportive of them. So you're like mutually supporting each other in that type of relationship, and that's very rare. You see it like that now? This is going to change everything. Literally, one of the things that I do is I usually start to develop some type of sheet that allows me just to understand full depth of everything about this character or everything about this scene, or maybe just the dynamics that need to be in the illustration. And I do this so that when I deliver to them, they're not just looking at a beautiful, pretty picture. No, friend, there's a deep story taking place. I'm putting character into their characters. And if you want to know my very specific practice with this one of the things that I'll start to do is go beyond whatever they give me too. And I usually gather a lot of references, like 20 plus references for anything that I do, for any character that I do individually. And I'll usually comprise it of these three things. I want to take a look at other artworks, number one. I want to take a look at 3D models, number two. And number three, I want to take a look at real life photos. Usually like cosplayers are really bomb. And that is just best practices if you really want to start to level up every artwork that you're doing. That's my practice for you right there. But what this does, friend, is allows you to add add nuance into the scene, allows you to add something deeper than just the image. Let me tell you, when you deliver this to a client, it's emotional most of the time. It's exhilarating, it's exciting. Like, there's nothing better than when you deliver a primo artwork to a client and they're just blown away at what you're doing. It makes them want to come back for more and more every single time, and it makes them too, here's the best part, now they're going to tell other people, now they're going to post about it, now they're going to tag you in it, and you're going to get more business by doing that, because it creates this effect called lingering, where they want to look at it, where they want to stare at it longer. And this is great not only for your art business, but also if you're trying to build any type of a following, this can also help you as well. Can you start doing this right now? Now, can I tell you why the results that you're currently getting right now are actually the results that you deserve, but also why you deserve better, and here's why. So if you're no stranger to my channel, I've basically been writing the book on how to actually get an art business going and how to grow it without any type of social media following. And again, if you're into that and you think that you would like that path too, aside from what every other person has told you about, then please hit that like and subscribe, because I really want to help support you on your journey. I mean that sincerely from my heart. But I just want to ask you, what are you really currently doing right now to get clients and to keep your clients, but especially in your search, okay? Do you think that maybe you found the perfect formula? Do you think that it just isn't working out? But honestly and truly, like, what are you basing that finding on? So let me tell my typical experience around this. Whenever I talk to other artists, whenever I talk to people, when I start to work with them on a one-on-one in my mentorship, and they'll typically go something like this. I'll be like, okay, cool. Well, where are you posting? How often are you posting? Well, I post to this one site, and I post there, once a month, and I post to this one place, or I post to those 3 or 4 places right there, and I'm just not getting anything. Well, maybe that's something you need to look at, don't you think? Does this sound like you? Because here's why that's not working out for you. And I want to give you my personal experiences that I've learned and I've come to these conclusions of, because I want to reset the metrics by which you are gauging how successful and how hard you are working right now in order to give you better and more realistic expectations about what you need to do based on things that I've done. So here we go. So when I was first posting, I'd be like, okay, does this post work great? How does this title sound? How does this blurb sound? How does this image look? Which image should I be posting? If I have a series of images, which one goes first? If you're gonna make a collage, well, is that the right thing to do, or should I just do regular big images right there? I started to think about that. Then I started to take a look at, okay, y'all that are posting only like 3 or 4 subreddits, for example, if you're on Reddit, okay, listen, I post upwards of 15 to 25 different subreddits that I am a part of, and you need to level that up too. When I was really hustling for commissions, one of the things I started to do is, if you've ever seen my DeviantArt guide, I looked on the DeviantArt job forums every single morning and every single night before I went to bed. I also put a lot of time, a lot of energy into finding new sites, into trying out new platforms, into trying out new things. And one of the things that I would never stop doing, I've never stopped looking for what other potential does there lie in out there. Now, with everything I just said right there, you might be starting to feel a little stressed out and you're like, oh my God, Sean, I don't have that much time. I don't have that much energy. But listen, y'all, calm down for a second. Everything I just said takes you about an hour to do. It's not that hard. And there's a lot of things that you don't have to do day after day, week after week. It takes me 5 minutes to go through every single job that's posted in the job forums on DeviantArt. You only have to post once a week on Reddit. You only have to sometimes post on fan sites or forums once a week. That's not a lot of time. And just to give you a really good outcome of this, y'all, I recently had somebody in my mentorship who literally applied this technique, just spent an extra hour, and it got them 2 clients totaling $350. So let me ask that, Brett, would you say that your time, 1 hour of your time, is worth $350? Because y'all, that's more than a lawyer makes. Isn't that bomb? You think you could do that? Because if you're just judging your success or lack thereof based on your lousy metrics, then that's why. Just raising your bar, just realizing that the metrics by which you've been judging how hard you've been working might yield you much better results. Try it out. Now, can I be brutally honest with you? Because you might not want to hear this, but I really want to help you out here. So one of the things I typically experience when I start to work with people in my mentorship is I'll ask them this question, like, okay, what challenges are you currently facing in your artwork, and how do you think I can help you? And so many times people will say, well, I think my art's good enough, so I need to focus on sales or marketing or where to go for it. And I gotta be honest, I rarely find that to be perfectly true. Because look, if your art was totally perfect, you wouldn't need anything else. You wouldn't really need to do that much marketing. You wouldn't really need to do that much for sales. You wouldn't really need to look on this platform or that one. And my finding here was that the death of your art development starts with 3 sentences, and here they are in any particular order. I felt like it, I like it like that, and I'm done. What I want to let you know is that everything I just said right there, those are all purely emotional statements. They lack any cognitive certainty. They lacked any intellectuality. And what that's doing is it's preventing you from seeing where you need to level up. It's preventing you from making your artwork better. So one of the things that I learned early on is that I have to be always improving my artwork. I can never lose that focus. And y'all that even just get completely inundated with projects, like y'all that are really hustling and doing great here, this is a major concern that I see for you, is that you are only doing projects and you're only working to complete the project, but you're not working to improve what you're doing. You're not working to improve your technique. You're not working to improve your process. You're not working to get critique or feedback. And if you're only doing that, then let me just tell you this, you're just cementing yourself where you currently are. And yeah, how's that feel? Even if you're currently putting in your best effort, I'm not knocking that, okay? Because I used to pour hours and hours, like 10 to 20 hours to get paid like $50, and that feels really lousy, okay? And to think about this as a client perspective, for why you should relate this back to how you're gonna get more consistent art clients and more art clients in general is because of this. The number one thing that I wanna let you know art clients buy is not images. No, friend. I know that's really contradictory to what you've thought, but no, they buy an experience and they buy that experience with you. So think about this. What if they got to be a part of your growth journey? What if they got to see you and they got to get better artwork? I've had clients do this and they're like blown away with where they started with me versus where I am now. And what if that was the same thing for you? Because what you're gonna find is that they will love it being the artwork that you create for them, and they're gonna love watching you grow. And this is a beautiful mutual relationship that you're gonna build right there, where it's gonna be an amazing experience. How's that sound? All right, so y'all, are you ready to break free of the herd? Because I'm gonna let you know this, most artistic pursuits die in the herd. And I wanted to start off by asking you this too. Where did you learn where to go and how to do this? I'm gonna give you my really honest feedback on this, because one thing I learned early on, as I've been freelancing now for over 10 years, is that most people are just following what other people are doing. You know, you do a Google search, or you go ahead and look online, you go through some forums, or you go through some subreddits or whatever, and you see what other people are doing, and then you immediately copy that, right? But unfortunately, what that's doing is it's just cannibalizing the art market by you trying to imitate everybody, and you're often just reproducing and yielding insufficient, unsuccessful results. Some of you are experiencing massive failure from it, and then you're curious as to like, well, why am I not getting better? That's why. The reality here is real simple. If you're only doing what everybody else is getting, then therefore it's entirely logical, friend, that you will at best only get a fraction of what everybody else is getting. Have you ever considered this? And y'all look, if you even go through the people that seem to have a lot of attention on how to do this properly, okay? I'm gonna air quote when I say how to do this properly, because I used to be just like you, and I would go and look at YouTube videos and I would look, okay, well, who has the most subscribers and which videos have the most views on them? But then I would hear the same crap over and over and over again. I just wanna ask you this, y'all. Have you ever really done a deep dive into what they do? Because y'all, I'm not gonna name any names. I'm not gonna knock anybody really personally here, but I'm just gonna tell you this. Y'all, you would be horrified if you actually did your research like I did. And some of the people that I saw that were giving advice at best, could only get up to $75. Y'all, do you really want that to be the cap on your future? Do you really want to take advice from somebody who can only get $75 for a single artwork? So what I learned here is that you have to do different. You have to try different things. And here are some things that I'm gonna encourage you to start to do that I started to do, and maybe this will spark some new innovative ideas for you, because you can't just lie down and die trying to do what everybody else is doing. So for me, I started to do a lot of Dungeons & Dragons based work, so I found a fan site that has forums specifically for job offers. I found different Discord servers. One of the things too is I started to even look through different Facebook groups, and I would look through them like every single day. And I also started to network with other artists, and then I would get referrals from them. And I started to realize that everybody that's using a commission sheet is drastically undercharging and screwing themselves over and not getting good clients, so I dumped those. And then I also stopped doing stupid robotic processes like fill up my Google form, email me if you feel like it kind of conversations, and I switched to human conversations. I switched to real, authentic human conversations about projects, about what they want, to clients directly. And that enabled me to be able to get more clients and get more higher paying clients, because you don't just want to sit there at what you're currently getting for your price point, do you, friend? I bet that it's 2x, 3x, or 5x exactly what you're getting right now, isn't it? Y'all, honestly, like, it just pisses me off how many times and how frequently, how often I keep on seeing people that are so-called experts that are trying to give advice that's completely outdated. They're just regurgitating the same crap that doesn't work for anybody, didn't work for anybody 10 years ago, ain't working for anybody 10 years later now, and yet they're still trying to produce the same efforts. Y'all, why are we trying to trudge up the past with just bad results and bad practices and things that don't get you more money, more clients, and more ease of life? Because at the end of the day, that's really what you want. You want a better life through your art, isn't it? Now I want to warn you, and there's a lot of scenarios I've noticed in which case we seem to derail and sabotage ourselves into not art making. You're going to be like, oh, I don't feel like it. I'm too sad. I feel too anxious. I feel too tired. And look, those are all real human things. Like, this seems really humanistic to make these types of statements. And you're no doubt gonna find people that are going to support that line of thought. You're gonna find people who are gonna be like, it's okay. They're gonna be empathetic towards it. And they're gonna let you know, it's okay, man. No, take today off. Oh, you've been so busy. It's okay, cool. So one of the biggest flaws I see people do is that they work based on their emotional state. They'll work based on when they want to do it or don't want to do it. And just so you know, just to give you the preview here of this segment, I'm not just gonna hit you with the big dirty D word, and I'm specifically talking about discipline here. Instead, I wanna give you something better to work for. So one of the things that we have a lot of issues with, just as people and as societies nowadays, is putting off comfort for fulfillment. And I'm talking specifically for your constant addiction to comforts, is we have become gluttons for it. Are you able to sacrifice a little more now, or do you want to sacrifice a whole lot later, potentially being even your art life? Because one of the things I've realized is that us as humans, and especially us as artists, we love to create scenarios where we choose the best outcome for the next 4 hours. But I want to shift you on this. What if you stop making decisions for the next 4 hours and you started making decisions that netted the outcome you wanted for the next 4 years? What if it was a 4-year decision? Oftentimes with myself, what I tend to do is I tend not to look at how do I feel about doing this, or do I feel up to doing this, or am I in the right state to do this? No, Fred. Instead, what I ask myself is, okay, how am I going to feel better if I do this? If I do this right now, how will this make my life easier? How will I feel if I actually go through with this? How will I feel if I actually succeed at this? How will I feel if I finish that project right now? How will I feel if I actually get more clients? How will I feel if I actually am able to achieve what I set myself out to? Because all too often, what you're gonna do, because I used to do it too, is I used to only do what I thought was right based on how I felt. But just to be honest, y'all, friend, your feelings will always betray you. But your ambitions and your mind is going to keep you on track. And y'all, what this is essentially known as is a compelling future, because you want to not be working towards your current set of circumstances, your current lifestyle, but instead work towards what you want to be, what you want to do, what you want your life to be like. Because one thing that I learned is that honestly, the results of my current life are the results of my current efforts. And if you are only willing or able to work based on the whims of your feelings, then you are forever going to be the victim and incarcerated into the prison of your emotional state. You cannot work like that, friend. And I'm going to advise you on this. You will never succeed like that. Y'all, there is a greater life right around the corner. And y'all, in order to do that, you have to turn what you're doing and how you're thinking about what you feel like doing and when you don't. Because oftentimes, you doing the things that you don't is actually what's needed in order to get you to the place that you want to get to. And just to be honest, I'm not saying you need to toxically do this. I'm not promoting toxic hustle culture. But what I'm just saying here is that you have to upgrade what you're currently doing, because if you are the victim of your emotions, then you will always be the victim of a less than life that you could have been. Do you really want that? Now, one of the best thing about all of these practices is that I literally haven't had to look for art clients in over 2 years. And the thing that I'm always asking myself, and I want you to ask yourself this too, is what more could you be doing? And how could that potentially bring you to the best possible place that you never even imagined? Like, have you ever really sat there and thought, like, what could I be doing and how could I be delivering the best experience? Because at the end of the day, y'all, it's not about you, it's about them, it's about the client. And if you constantly do things that are going to be in their service and not just in your service, not just for your wallet service, then you are going to be propelled to the next spot. Now, if you really want to know more things like this, go ahead and check out this video, because these are some more boss tips and tricks on how to keep clients begging for more. Thanks so much. See you next time.